shit, fella.
What's up, brothers? I want you to ask yourself a question. How many times have you seen a man get rejected by a woman? A lot. Now I want you to ask yourself, how many times have you seen a woman be rejected by a man? Not so much, right? Completely different story. This should be an indicator that we are a female dominant selective mating species. To be specific, women are the selectors. And this is where a lot of men go wrong. You know, a lot of men get this idea that a gender reversal is the key to being an alpha. You know, become the selector. Be proactive. Select the woman you want. Not quite the way it works. As a matter of fact, that's like the least alpha thing you can do. An alpha male is at the top of the dominance hierarchy. You know, he's at least somewhere near the top. And the closer you are to the top, the higher your sexual market value is. Now, of course, we all know looks, money, and status are the top 3 indicators of high sexual market value. They're also the top 3 indicators of being high on the dominance hierarchy. An alpha male has looks, money, and status, and he gets respect from his community. He has high sexual market value, and he has a lot of women selecting him. So to the naked eye, it may look like he's choosing which woman he wants, but in reality, he just has a lot of women choosing him, so he has a lot of options. Now the pickup community in particular, because most guys, when they try to learn about women, that's where they learn at, the pickup community. They go out, they cold approach women, they try to learn game, how to talk to women, how to be cocky funny. Cocky funny. Just laugh at your own jokes, bro. That's as cocky funny as you can get. It's funny and cocky. I'm just kidding. But anyways, you know, they try to learn all this game and all this bullshit. And basically all they're doing is reversing the gender rules. They're trying to become the selector. And by default, you know, just playing a numbers game, yeah, you're gonna get some sex if you do that. But it's not gonna raise your sexual market value. It's not going to help you climb the dominance hierarchy. So it's not going to increase the amount of women that are selecting you. As a matter of fact, I wouldn't use pickup as a skill. I don't think pickup is a skill or art. Pickup is more of a tool. Pickup will let you know how high you are in the dominance hierarchy. If you're low as fuck, you're gonna suck at pickup. But if you're high on the dominance hierarchy, you're gonna be pretty fucking good at pickup. And the reason why is because a lot of women are gonna be selecting you. If you go out to a nightclub and you got 100 women staring at you, playing with their hair, biting their lips, you know, trying to get your attention, yeah, you're gonna be fucking good at cold approaching, because that ain't even a cold approach, that's a hot approach. Completely different. But the point I want to get to is that you can't reverse this rule, okay? And this is where most men go wrong. What you need to focus on is climbing the dominance hierarchy. Because human beings are an intersexual species. I'm not saying we're not. And for those of you that don't know what intersexual means we mingle with the opposite sex. Okay, we mingle with the opposite sex and we find somebody compatible for us, and that's part of our mating strategy. You know, that's just part of who we are. But there is a common denominator in both of our strategies. Okay, we have intersexual and we also have intrasexual. Intrasexual means that members of the same sex compete with each other for the attention of the opposite sex. And in particular, men compete with each other for the attention of women. We do, and that is the dominance hierarchy. We compete with each other to rise to the top. You know, you see it in religion. You have your Holy Father, you have your fucking apostles, you have your high priests, you have, you know, whatever, it trickles down. And in every workplace you see it too. You know, you have your your CEOs, you have your executives, you have your lower level management, you have your bottom level workers. You have dominance hierarchies all over the place. And these hierarchies are also involved in social settings. They're all over the place. And a nightclub, you have a social hierarchy. It exists. It's there. And the closer you are to the top, the more sexual market value you have, the more women you're going to have selecting you. I'm sure you saw the video that used to play on Facebook all the time. I think it's still probably playing on there. But you got the dude that he asked some hot chick out on the, I think it's in LA. Looks like he's walking around Muscle Beach or something. And she tells him no. And then he goes and gets in his Ferrari, and she runs back over and she's like, oh, wait, I didn't mean to say no. It was an indicator of high sexual market value. He was indicating he had money and status, and all of a sudden, it was like an aphrodisiac, and it turned her on. So the common denominator that intersexual and intrasexual has is, yeah, we do mingle with the opposite sex. Okay, but when we're mingling, women are using this mingling to select the highest value mate. Like, she's going out with plenty of men because she wants to select the dude that's at the top, like the best she can possibly get. And the intrasexual aspect, you're also competing with other men. So in both scenarios, the higher you are on the dominance hierarchy, the higher sexual market value you have, and the more women you're going to have selecting you. The more women you have selecting you, the more options you have, and the more power you have towards picking somebody that's a good pick for you. So essentially, the least alpha thing you can do is run around cold approaching chicks that aren't even expressing any interest. As a matter of fact, that's just irrelevant. That's just a tool that will show you how much sexual market value you have. But what you should be doing is focusing on climbing the dominance hierarchy, and that is by competing with other men. And I know a lot of you guys out there, you just want to run away from competition. You want to say, well, those guys that are competing for female attention, they're just simps. They're just pussy worshiping simps. I'm just gonna walk away, and that's fine. I mean, shit, I'm with you. I don't. A lot of times, I just say fuck it. It's not even worth it. I'm just gonna chill tonight. But anytime you want to enter back in the sexual marketplace, you are going to compete with other men for the attention of women, and you're also going to compete with them in the dominance hierarchy. It's always going to be there, and that's looks, money, and status. Now, to kind of explain the way a dominance hierarchy works, if you were to put yourself on an island with 5 women, just you and 5 women, all 5 women are going to select you. Why? Because you're at the top of the dominance hierarchy. You're the only person on the dominance hierarchy, but you're at the top of it. So in this situation, you can pretty much mate with all 5 women, no problem. Because all 5 of them are selecting you. But if you're on an island with 4 other dudes and 1 chick, she's going to select one person, the one guy that's at the top of the dominance hierarchy. And women are genetically wired like this because they can only have 1 baby in 1 year, right? In the most fertile stages of their lives, they can have 1 baby per year for X amount of years. And when they become pregnant, they're going to become heavily reliant on their performance of their mate, right? Because a lot of times she's going to have to take off work, and after she has the baby, she's going to have to take off work to nurture the babies, and she's just going to be heavily reliant on the performance of her mate. So her biological imperative, her instinctual biological imperative, it's not just that she's a bitch and she wants a fucking, she's greedy. That's not even the case. It's just a subconscious biological imperative that she wants to select the top performing male, because the quality of life for the next 18 years that she's going to live is going to be dependent on the performance of her mate. And that's why women are genetically wired to pick men that are at the top of the dominance hierarchy. So Learning pickup, learning how to turn a woman on and push her buttons. Fuck that, dude. Come on. That's the opposite of what you should be doing. You should be focusing on getting your life in order. You know, you should have assets. You should have a good income. You should focus on your physical fitness. All of the indicators of high SMV. That's really all that matters in the end, because higher your SMV is, the more women you have selecting you. The more women you have selecting you, the more options you have, and the easier it is for you, you know, to pick a high quality mate. It's 100 fucking degrees out here. I'm getting sweat in my eyes. I gotta go. LFA signing out.